and this is Budget Sew, where we create stylish, fashionable looks as inexpensively as possible. One of the things I love to do is go thrift shopping and then show you my thrift haul. Sometimes it's fabric, sometimes it's sewing patterns, and other times it's sewing accessories. Today, I'm going to show you a vintage McCALL'S Needlework pattern book from November 1952. But first, I'm going to show you one of my makes. Since we're looking at a McCALL'S pattern book, I thought it would be fitting to wear a McCALL'S garment. Today, I'm wearing McCALL'S 7869 in a size large. McCALL'S 7869 is a pullover top pattern with length, sleeve, and fabric variations. View A and B have flounces. View C has a contrast yoke, and View D has purchased piping. Now, I didn't pick a specific view for this pattern. I did a mix-up of two views. I chose View A with the flounce at the yoke on the front of the top only, but with View C's sleeves and lower band. You may remember this top from my McCALL'S 7869 sew-along video. The link to that video is right here at the top of the screen. This pattern was published in 2018, but I bought it on sale last year off the McCALL'S pattern website. The original price of this pattern was $19.99 American, but its sale price was $3.99. And I had a 10% off coupon code from ordering off the website previously, so I paid $3.59 plus shipping to Canada. The link to the video where I purchased this pattern is right here at the top of the screen. I chose to make up this pattern in a size large based on the measurements on the pattern envelope. But I ended up making it too big because I didn't look at the individual pattern pieces to see how much ease there was before cutting it out and sewing. Based on those measurements, I should have made a size medium. The fabric that I chose is a textured knit that I purchased at the Lens Mill store in London, Ontario, as part of their 40% off remnant sale. I purchased two pieces of fabric approximately 60 inches wide by 0.944 yards long. Each remnant was the exact same size. They were $6.99 a yard originally, but I got them for the great price of $3.96 each. The link to the video where I purchased the fabric is right here at the top of the screen. In addition to that fabric, I used a contrasting knit fabric that I purchased from Value Village thrift stores for $4.99. I used the majority of that fabric for a vintage pattern make, Simplicity 6260. The link to the video of that dress is right here at the top of the screen. After making that dress, all that was left over was a remnant of less than 1 yard. Even though I had very little fabric to work with, it was the perfect amount for the neckband, front flounce, and sleeve bands of McCALL'S 7869. To complete the look, I'm wearing Tommy Hilfiger jeans that I bought from the Hudson's Bay Company. The suede Blondo boots are from the Salvation Army charity store. and the earrings and purse are from Value Village thrift stores. Now, onto the pattern book. I bought this McCALL'S Needlework Patterns book from November 1952 from Value Village thrift stores. It was 25 cents in the magazine section. I was jumping up and down in the aisle when I saw it. I was thrilled. It's in good condition, but there are 2 pages that are a bit damaged. It looked like someone cut out 2 of the drawings, but this didn't bother me at all. I'm happy to have it. The first section is women's, misses', and men's patterns. Fashion right designs with fine hand details. Fashion bright accessories with distinctive accents. I like the ad on the back of the page. Buy McCALL'S Needlework Craft Magazine. For fun with the needle. Knitting, crochet, embroidery, rug hooking, and tatting. For fun with the crafts. Painting, weaving, stenciling, pottery making, and rug hooking. Buy it today at your pattern counter. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1738. Here are 4 popular wool jersey caps to make in a variety of colors and drapes as you like to suit the occasion. Wear the drawstring cap, view A, as an open crown turban, or tie the drawstrings to close the crown as a stocking cap. The roll edge halo, view B, is a smart little soft hat. For a double-decker effect, view C, make 2 halos in contrast colors. Wear one above the other. The hair-lined skull cap, view D, is both a town and a ski slopes favorite. Cap E in the photo may have pom-poms knotted at the top for a pixie look, or tied to dangle. Only 2 pattern pieces for each cap. Next we have McCALL'S 1745. It's a printed pattern for women's and misses' hats and bag. View A and B, a spectacular sports hat designed with up and down brim interest. You'll like its smooth 5-section melon crown, the pert little tab at the back of the neck. Good for felt, velveteen, corduroy. Linen piqué or denim with saddle stitching trim. The modified bumper beret, view C, for fabric only, is made in 8 pie sections attached to a headband. Companion bag is styled with new tapered sides, oval bottom, and made in fabric to match the hat. Slide fastener clothing, felt lining. On the next page, there are 6 pretty fancy aprons. Make yourself an apron to add a party touch when you're the cook and the hostess too. A wonderful gift idea, one size that fits everyone. In the top corner, there's McCALL'S 1710. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. T apron and includes a blue transfer for appliqued cabbage rows. The transfer patterns printed in blue will show on white and medium colored materials. The designs printed in yellow can be successfully used on dark materials as well as on white, yellow, and other light colors. Below that, there's McCALL'S 1691. It's a misses' and women's flower petal apron that folds like a fan. There's also McCALL'S 1594. It's a printed pattern for a misses' apron. Electric blue transfer for applique and embroidery. I love the flower appliques on this one. Then there's McCALL'S 1641. It's a printed pattern for mother and daughter aprons. Organdy with plastic flowers. Then there's McCALL'S 1665. A printed pattern for women's and misses' apron. It includes an electric blue transfer for applique. Finally, there's McCALL'S 1714. It's a misses' drawstring apron with embroidered snowflakes. Smocked skirt, new, popular, easy to smock. McCALL'S 1746 is a junior's bouffant skirt in 2 lengths with electric blue transfer for smocking. College girls, career girls, make this stunning costume skirt with tiny cummerbund tied waist and deep honeycomb smocking at the hip line. The photograph shows a shorter daytime look. View B, made in gray taffeta, smocked in matching 6-strand cotton, finished with 6-strand cotton tassels. The evening version, View A, is a stunning scarlet taffeta, its smocking stitches accented with shiny jet beads. Pattern includes smocking instructions. One size, with the waist adjustable from 23.5 to 27 inches. On the next page, there's continuous banding to be embroidered by hand or sewing machine. This is McCALL'S 1748, a transfer pattern for bandings or all-over effects for sewing machine or hand embroidery in electric blue. Smartly styled bandings used to trim dresses, suits, or felt skirts. For sewing machine trimming, you may use Soustache braid as in View A, pearl cotton in View B, twisted cotton cable cord in View C, or taffeta crocheted ribbon as in View F. If desired, add large crocheted flowers made of pearl cotton, straw-like yarn, or crochet ribbon. Trim felt skirt with cotton cord and felt flowers. The felt skirt shown is McCALL'S 8997 in sizes 24 to 32 waist. For handwork, use seed beads in View E, or sequins with small clusters of pearl beads in View D. Bandings are given in 2 widths, 2 yards of 3-inch, number 2, or 3¼ yards of 5½ inch, number 1. The 3-inch width banding can be cut apart in 1/2 inch, 1¼ or 2-inch widths. The leaflet instructions are included. Before I continue with the patterns, please share this video with your friends and family. I'd love to help others sew and refashion on a budget and troubleshoot their favorite patterns. I also love sharing the treasure that I find at thrift shops. If you'd like to see more from BudgetSew, please subscribe and make sure that the bell is on so you receive a notification when I release a new video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BudgetSew. Now back to the pattern book. On the next page are sweater blouses. This pattern is McCALL'S 1726. View A combines shantung with hand crocheted front yoke, split collar in contrast color. The crochet details of the yoke are in the above right. View B is a wool jersey with hand knitted turtleneck yoke, a wide waistband in one color. The knitted details of the yoke are on the left. View C, the 2-tone jersey print with white jersey yoke, brief or push-up sleeves, tuck-in or midi-length fitted waist, cuffed hip, or knitted waistband, 3-ply wool or nylon for knitting, pearl cotton number 5 for crochet. Then there's They're Done in Huckaback Weaving. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1724. It's a printed pattern for 3 drawstring bags for huck weaving. Smart to carry, fun to huck weave. View A is a conventional Eastern type design. View B is early American in design. View C is a spiral effect. Use 4-ply worsted on white or tinted huckaback toweling, 5 or 7 bumps to the inch, or ready-made huck towels. Cardboard or buckram stiffened bottoms. Well-tailored rectangle, oval, and round styles, about 10 inches deep. Use gross grain ribbon or hand-twisted wool cord for drawstring. The next pattern is McCALL'S 1723. It's a transfer design for floral huck towels in blue. Natural color floral motifs worked in huckaback weaving make stunning for guest towels. Easy to do. Embroider design outlines in outline stitch. Fill in flowers, leaves in huckaback weaving, darning stitch. Use white or pastel linen or cotton huckaback toweling. 7 or 8 huck bumps to the inch. Or ready-made guest-sized huck towels. 6 different flower designs, 2 of each. Calla lily and morning glories shown. On the next page are women's and Mrs. accessories. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1188. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. fabric gloves. Easy, casual fit, and biased cut. 4 styles. Use firm weave rayon, wool, or cotton. Then there's McCALL'S 1391. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. fabric gloves. Yellow or blue transfer for smocking and tucks. Smart hand detailing in a variety of styles. On the bottom left, there are Mrs. and women's bags. 3 wonderful bags. View A is melon shaped and 8 inches deep. View B is 16 or 12 inches square. View C is tailored and 7.5 inches deep. I love View C. The last pattern on the page is McCALL'S 1626. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. bags. 3 smart bags. Casual carry-all. View A has a rounded zippered top. 7 by 10 inches and 10 inches deep. Handbag B has a hinged frame top, 4 by 11 3/4 inches and 5.5 inches deep. Drawstring bag C is circular cut, 6.5 inches deep. Each bag has a change purse. My favorite is View A. I just love it. Draping the bridal veil is next. At the top of the page is McCALL'S 1475. It's a printed pattern for flower girls' bridal costumes with a blue transfer for embroidery. Here are 2 versions of a charming dress for a flower girl. View A is Southern Belle style. The skirt is draped and festooned with ribbon bows above a voluminous lace-trimmed slip designed for dress. Embroider flower bouquets on the skirt and the bodice in the color of the ribbon bows. Edge skirt, sweetheart neck, puff sleeves in lace. Wear with the head garland of fresh flowers. View B has an embroidered peplum, small flower motifs, seed pearls for a quaint, simple effect. Ruching edges the neck and the bonnet, and half mitts are in the pattern. Then there's McCALL'S 1490. It's a printed pattern for bridal caps and veils. Make View A a picturesque white satin bonnet with a flattering brim edged in wheat or pearl beads, satin ribbon tie, and flower trim. Quilt a satin melon cap in seed pearls. Add lilies of the valley as in View B. Give a regal satin tiara, smart pearl bead trim as in View C. Wear a traditional Juliet cap of pearl bead strands for View D. For View E, use starched eyelet or lace for the tiara with dainty flower trim. There are 3 different view lengths: short, above waistline, and full train length. For veils, use illusion, fine net, or tulle. Directions for draping and attaching the veil are included in the pattern. The headdresses are in 1 size. On the next page are bridal party headdresses. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1701. It's a printed pattern for bridal party hats. Lovely complements to the bridal party gowns. 2 bridesmaids' hats. View A is crownless, filmy cartwheel with ribbon and flower trim. View C is a half hat of stiffened tulle masked with tiny flowers trimmed with a demure veil. View B is a picture hat for the mother of the bride, made in satin, taffeta, or piqué, with an overlay of Alencon lace that falls softly over the edge of the brim. View D, the flower girl's crescent-shaped hat, has an engaging chin bow. Then there's McCALL'S 1693. It's a printed pattern for bridal caps and veils. View A tiara of pearl beads and crystal bugles crocheted over tartlet foundation. Fingertip veil of tulle illusion. View B is a Juliet cap of small flowers sewn to latticed ribbon, Malign's shoulder veil sprinkled with tiny blossoms. View C is a heart-shaped satin bandeau cap edged with pearl beads. Waist-length veil banded with sheer lace. View D is a satin pillbox covered with Alencon lace outlined with pearls. Fingertip veil of Alencon lace. On the next page, there are stunning hats with matching bags. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1690. It's a printed pattern for misses and women's hats and theater bags. Cloche with deep pointed or small cap-like brim and heart-shaped bandeau. Bag is 5 by 8 inches. Beside that is McCALL'S 1680. It's a printed pattern for misses or women's hats and bags. Clamshell hat, single or stacked brim. Bag has a deep flap or spring fastener hinge top, 10.5 inches deep. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1571. It's a printed pattern for misses' cap, bag, and scarves. Year-round caps to match your costumes in leopard printed velveteen or brushed jersey or in piqué linen or wool suiting. The first pattern at the top of the next page is McCALL'S 1604. 3 easy to make styles of hat, each one a charmer. Make the pillbox with a mandarin crown to accompany suits, or choose the jockey cap for separates. You'll like the side-swept hat in a frosty white with a dark cocktail dress, suitable for linen, piqué, wool suiting, fail, and wool jersey. Then there's McCALL'S 1652. View A is a head-hugging cap, dipping into a widow's peak at the front. View B is a close-fitting cloche type hat, side-swept, deep in back. View C is a best suit hat with tip tilting forward, used corduroy, and matching the ribs at the seams. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1496. Take your choice: a bonnet with a roll-back brim, a side-tipped beret, or petal cap with or without birdcage veil. The bonnet A is shown in velvet with the bow and left brim in satin. The petal cap is cut into 6 sections. Make the beret, view C, in velvet or tweed to match your favorite coat or suit. On the next page are misses' and women's hats. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1538. 3 variations of the ever-smart cloche. View A with bonnet-like brim in red and white checkered taffeta is a pert costume pickup. Make a scarf to match of the same material. View B with snug melon-shaped crown is teamed with a drawstring wrist bag. Make in mustard yellow or paprika red to spice cottons or woolens. Pie-shaped pieces form the crown of view C, a perfect casual hat. Make it of suiting, linen, or piqué. The bag is about 8 inches deep. Then there's McCALL'S 1664. Make your hat small in a gay color and then accent it with black. For instance, view A is lovely in gold with black cord trim. The beret, view B, with forward brim and head hugger back, is gaily wearable in red with white bead trim on black. White satin bugle beads tipped with black seed beads trim the white scalloped calot, view C, or make it in wood violet with black eye veil. Suitable for velvet, satin, piqué, or coarse linen. On the next page is McCALL'S 1651. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. Blouse with a blue transfer for embroidery. Handsome shadow stitch embroidery on a sheer high style blouse, view B, for satin or crepe. Work in satin and outline stitch on view A. Twin scallops on the collar. View A has short sleeves. Then there's McCALL'S 1595. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. Blouse with a blue transfer for embroidery. The flower petal collar and cuffs lend an opaque on sheer look to this feminine sheer blouse. Self-color embroidery in satin stitch. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1458. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. Sheer blouse with a blue transfer for embroidery. Make this sheer cotton confection with a collar, as in view A, or lacy jabot in view B. Self-color embroidery in satin and stem stitch. Then there's McCALL'S 1521. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. collars, cuffs, and vesties. A blue transfer for embroidery is included. Crisp white neckwear and a suit vestee with an upstanding collar. Ruffled and tailored. 9 styles, 1 size. Then there's McCALL'S 1611. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. and women's collars with a yellow transfer for embroidery. Large cape collars to toss over a bare top dress. Bib collars, jabot, and tailored styles in 1 size. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1552. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. collars and cuffs. To snap up a basic dress, big dramatic piqué collars. Choose the Cavalier style in view A, or the Puritan in view B, or the notched cape collar in view C. Smart in white, 1 size. On the next page is McCALL'S 1613. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. stoles. Make your stole of lace, velvet, or taffeta for evening wear, wool suiting or jersey for daytime wear, and terry cloth for the beach, shawl or cape style. Instructions included for the handmade tassels and fringe. Then there's McCALL'S 1697. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. neckwear accessories. Magic touches. View B is a brief jacket and hourglass bag. The halter vest in view C is for suits and slacks. Included in the pattern are the scarf in view A, the collar in view E, and the poppy scarf in view F. Piqué collar D is edged with Irish lace and sew-on rhinestones, 1 size. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1619. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. Boleros with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. 2 styles. View A is reversible with embroidered or beaded trim, and view C has ombre effect embroidery. On the next page is McCALL'S 1638. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. Bolero and hat with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. Dashing Toreador-style bolero and a little hat with a scooped brim. A velveteen or sheer wool embroidered in fine wool or non-tarnished gold thread. Of linen or piqué embroidered in 6-strand or pearl cotton. Crocheted edging on yoke and hat. The next pattern is McCALL'S 1621. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. Smocked blouses with yellow or blue transfer for smocking. A classic smocked blouse for town or country wear. The drawstring neckline converts the high-necked version B to a deep U neckline, low neckline version A to off-the-shoulder style. Long or short sleeves with smocked cuffs. Waistline fullness is pleated into the hip yoke. This pattern includes a smocking leaflet. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1221. It's a printed pattern for Mrs. and Girls smocked blouses with a yellow or blue transfer for smocking. A basic blouse for smocking, which may be used with any straight smocking banding other than the one given in the pattern. Long sleeves with smocked cuffs or short sleeves with band cuffs. Darted at the waistline for a smooth fit under the skirt. Smocking directions included. On the next page is McCALL'S 1612. This is a printed pattern for a beach coat or evening jacket with a yellow transfer for embroidery. For the beach, use terry cloth and bias bands of plaid cotton. For the evening, choose velvet and satin bands embroidered in metallic thread and beads. To top TV slacks, use gay cotton, contrast bands, and wool embroidery. Beside that is McCALL'S 1530. You may remember this pattern from a previous video, my McCALL'S Needlework Annual from 1950. The link to that video is right here at the top of the screen. This is a printed pattern for a smock with a yellow or blue transfer for embroidery. It says, Chinese style smock for work or leisure wear. Huge pockets embroidered with dragons. Mandarin collar, easy fullness across the back. Directions included for ornamental frog buttons. View A is handsome as an evening coat in satin, fail, or velveteen. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1593. It's a printed pattern for a smock with a yellow or blue transfer for smocking. The deep yoke is smocked in bold stitches. 6 strands of thread in one needle in one color, or 2 colors used in alternating rows. Use a print or solid color with collar and band of print. Smocking lesson included. On the next page is McCALL'S 1399. It's a printed pattern for a themed jacket with a yellow or blue transfer for embroidery. It says, slip into a gay Mexican mood with a splendid fiesta jacket. Peasant, pottery, fruit, and flower motifs in large easy stitches for embroidery wools. Make the jacket in felt or flannel. The sombrero motif for pockets is in herringbone stitch. Works up quickly. The next pattern is McCALL'S 1480. This is a printed pattern for men's western shirts with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. It's smart to make the yoke or sleeves in one color and the body of the shirt, collars, and cuffs in a contrasting color. The cactus flower trim accents the yoke and sleeves. Use 6-strand cotton. Work in herringbone and satin stitches using bright colors. The last pattern on the page is McCALL'S 1332. It's a printed pattern for a men's western shirt with a blue or yellow transfer for embroidery. For country weekends, for that trip to the Dude Ranch. Work stylized cactus motifs or go fancy with desert flowers. embroidery in satin or chain stitch. Cuffs can be straight or deep curved. Arrows outline the pockets. Make the shirt in contrast colors or solid colors. Then there's Western shirts for the whole family. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1310. It's a printed pattern for a boy's or girl's Western shirt with a blue or yellow transfer for embroidery and applique. Children will love this yippee shirt with its colorful yoke and cuffs and arrow pockets. This shirt, in true rodeo tradition, is wonderful for playtime wear. Sister wears her shirt to school too. Embroider view A with floral motif. Trim view C with applique. Use 6-strand cotton for embroidery. Short sleeves are smart for a small boy or girl. The next pattern is McCALL'S 1297. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Western shirt with a blue or yellow transfer for embroidery. The contrast yoke, deep cuffs, and embroidery on the sleeves distinguish this as Western. Arrow pockets are there too. The mannish tailoring gives a close fit, rodeo style. Embroidery in satin or outline stitches to be worked in 6-strand cotton. Smart colors and contrast suggestions are shown in the illustrations. On the next page is McCALL'S 1710. It's a printed pattern for tea aprons with a blue transfer for applique. Quickie organdy tea aprons. For view A, stamp the outline on a piece of organdy, base to position. Machine stitch the outlines with a zigzagger and cut away edges. The halter bibbed apron, view B, has 3 poppy pockets. The embroidery is worked in outline stitch or with machine zigzagger. For view C, omit the bib and use dotted Swiss with piqué poppies, 1 size. The next pattern is McCALL'S 1711. It's a printed pattern for a smocked apron for checked material only. Glamour girl cooks take to the kitchen in this handsome one-piece apron, shaped with easily made smocking on checked material. Just cut out apron, edge, then smock by bringing corners of dark to light checks together, following the chart. No transfer required. For 1/4 to 1/2 inch checked material only. Gingham, taffeta, and percale. Use contrasting 6-stranded cotton, 2 halter neck styles. Hammer-on snap fasteners optional, 1 size. On the next page is McCALL'S 1713. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. Cobbler apron with a blue transfer for embroidery. Efficient cover-ups to whisk you through the house and garden tasks. Cooking apron, view B, has kangaroo pockets and a pair of pot holders embroidered in tic-tac-toe motif. Matching cobbler apron for children is McCALL'S 1712. Floral chintz or cretonne forms pockets of garden apron in view A. It's effective over slacks. For percale, denim, and linen-like cotton. Then there's McCALL'S 1714. This is a printed pattern for seasonal half aprons with a yellow or blue transfer for embroidery and applique. Drawstring ribbon ties mold the fullness of these festive aprons. The material is cut straight in 1 or 2 tiers, no shaping, no side hems. The winter apron is dotted with snowflakes, embroidered by hand or by machine. Airy butterfly wings fly away from organdy in a summer apron. Bodies are machine stitched in place with tarnish-resistant metallic sewing thread. Between season style has a lone pine pocket, 1 size. On the next page is McCALL'S 1633. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. apron. Here's an apron that's pretty enough to wear to a square dance. In fact, a square dance dress inspired the festive-looking ruffled skirt. Make the apron with or without the bib. Ideal in printed percale or plastic with harmonizing solid color for ruffles and waistband. Full skirt nipped in at the waist. Then there's McCALL'S 1634. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Apron. Party pretty apron with ruffle-edged swing pockets, suspended from the waistband. Without the bib and ruffled up the back, it's a dainty hostess apron. With a ruffled bib, you're completely covered, yet pretty for your household chores. Perfect for flower-sprigged cotton or sheer fabric, one size. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1635. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. Apron. It's a sweetheart of an apron. Make the heart-shaped bib and pocket of ready quilted chintz with gay plaid for the skirt for view B. Or use floral print for view A in cotton or plastic. Also suitable for gingham. View C is dainty in floral print cotton edged in lace, one size. On the next page is McCALL'S 1532. It's a printed pattern for an apron with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. Give your new apron the pretty ruffled shoulders of a little girl's pinafore. Make it in print and plain combination as in view A, or in solid color with white organdy frills and embroidered motifs as in view B. Motifs in outline, chain, and lazy daisy stitches. Then there's McCALL'S 1469. It's a printed pattern for a Mrs. Apron with a yellow or blue transfer for embroidery. Handsome, large cross-stitch trims and a slender midriff make this a standout apron. Bib top snaps or buttons at the back of the neck in a deep yoke. Ivy leaf garland is effective in 2 shades of green. Cross-stitch rose is attractive in white with green leaves. The crosses are 5 to the inch for 6-strand cottons. One size suitable for size 12 to 18. On the next page is McCALL'S 1578. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Apron with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. A big flower pot is your apron pocket. From it grows applique flowers on bias tape stems. Broad shoulder straps ending in halter type neck and a deep hem ruffle complete this feminine apron. One size suitable for 12 to 16. Then there's McCALL'S 1577. This is a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. Aprons with a blue transfer for applique. It says, slenderizing where you want it, at the waistline. Fits large sizes and small too. Floral appliques are smart in piqué on checked gingham as in view A. Trim with rickrack and embroidery. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1579. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Apron or sundress with a 2-way halter neck. The bodice may be dart fitted as in view A or gathered as in view B. Trimming bands and shamrock applique are smart in piqué or plaid. The blouse is not included in the pattern. On the next page are couples aprons. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1515. This is a printed pattern for barbecue aprons, chef's hat, and mitts with a blue transfer for applique. Hers has an applique dachshund, hot dog. His has a pig chef. For denim, unbleached muslin, and ticking. Then there's McCALL'S 1597. It's a printed pattern for Mr. and Mrs. barbecue aprons, chef's hat, and mitts with a blue transfer for embroidery. Pop wears a chef's hat. Mom's padded mitts prevent scorched fingers, in one size. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1481. This is a printed pattern for Mr. and Mrs. aprons with a blue transfer for embroidery. Amusing figures show wife cooking and husband doing chores. Work in outline stitch. Trim his apron with bias tape and hers with rickrack. One size. Then there's McCALL'S 1632. This is a printed pattern for Mr. and Mrs. barbecue aprons, headbands, and mitts. Head cook and aide wear chef-style aprons, one size and no transfer. View A and B use 1 yard of 35-inch design printed fabric or 1 yard of 35-inch check. On the next page is McCALL'S 1647. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. makeup smock and wave wrap. View A is a makeup smock, View B is coveralls, and View C is a wave wrap. One size. Then there's McCALL'S 1550. This is a printed pattern for Mrs. aprons to be made from scraps. Practical and attractive. Pattern shows 5 ways of combining scraps for aprons to match your dresses. Neckband and ties of bias tape. One size. Then there's McCALL'S 1104. This is a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. aprons for applique. It's a figure flattering apron with appliqued peppers. Sizes small, 14 to 16, medium, 18 to 20, and large, 40 to 42. And then there's McCALL'S 1105. It's a printed pattern for a slimming apron with a blue transfer for applique. The waistline darts give a trimmer fitted line to the large figure. Sizes small, 38, 40, and 42, and large, 44, 46, and 48. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1124. This is a printed pattern for Mrs. aprons with a blue or yellow transfer for embroidery. Pretty in percale or dotted Swiss. Dainty embroidered trim with or without the bib top. Sizes small, 10 to 12, medium, 14 to 16, and large, 18 to 20. Then there's McCALL'S 1594. It's a printed pattern for a women's and Mrs. organdy apron with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. Hostess aprons, swirling hemlines, and appliques of flowered chintz in views A and B, or bright poppies like in view C, embroidered petal outlines and leaves. At the bottom of the page, there's McCALL'S 1665. It's a printed pattern for a women's and Mrs. apron with an electric blue transfer for applique. Bouffant apron with tulip appliques. Striped in 4 horizontal skirt sections. Side seam pockets, one size. On the next page is McCALL'S 1641. This is a printed pattern for mother and daughter aprons with an electric blue transfer for embroidery. They are aprons trimmed with huck weaving. Work weaving in one color or in black on a center panel of white, or tinted huck toweling, 9 bumps to the inch. If you wish, cross-stitch motifs on percale panel or make apron all in organdy and applique it with flowers cut from printed chintz as in view C. Use pearl cotton number 5 or 6-strand cotton. 2 each of 2 embroidery designs included, one size. Then there's McCALL'S 1279. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. apron with a blue transfer for embroidery. Crisp bows on your apron add a pleasant touch to luncheons, teas, and around the house wear. Make the bows in self material or use a harmonizing color ribbon, as in the breezy plaid taffeta tie in view B. Top off bows with embroidered roses. Work the flowers in buttonhole stitch in the color of the edging trim. For tea time, embroider white roses and use white lace edging on a pastel sheer, as in view C, one size. On the next page is McCALL'S 1312. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Apron. Contrast gores give this apron its pretty flair. In View C, the stripes achieve contrast by running in opposite directions. Edge with rickrack. Trim View B with novelty braid. Another version, which is not shown, has a rounded waistband and edges instead of points. One size. Then there's McCALL'S 1650. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. aprons with a blue transfer for applique and embroidery. An apron with amusing pockets that you button on for Sunday, Monday, or any day of the week. The Sunday pocket, View A, is a big heart trimmed with a carnation. Monday's pocket, View B, with clothespin applique will hold clothespins. On Monday, button on the practical bib. Petunia applique in View C for any day. One size. Then there's McCALL'S 1691. This is a printed pattern for a women's and Mrs. flower petal apron. 6 Cosmo-like petals form this easy to make apron. Edge stitch to accent the pleated effect. Face lower edges of petals with contrast or trim with ruffles. A rainbow petal apron is pretty. Apron may be fan folded and pressed into pleats for next wearing. One size. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1580. This is a transfer design for cross-stitch borders in blue or yellow. Beautiful cross-stitch roses trim the mother and daughter wrap-around play skirts. Work in red, green, or black on white, or in white on color. 5 crosses to the inch. The roses are 4.5 inches in diameter. The directions for making the skirt from the easy diagram in sizes 8 to 18. It requires 3 lengths of 35-inch fabric, and the transfer will trim 2 skirts. Then there's McCALL'S 1336. It's a printed pattern for women's and Mrs. aprons with a yellow or blue transfer for applique. There's a man taking a siesta in View A or singing a merry tune to accordion accompaniment in View B. All in applique finished with simple embroidery stitches. Put bright colored bias tape at the hem and at the waistline. 3 applique designs. The waistband in a curved or straight version. One size. And at the bottom of the page, there's McCALL'S 1367. It's a printed pattern for a women's and Mrs. apron with a blue transfer for applique and embroidery. You can make this snack server with large surplice collar or little heart bib framed in rickrack. Make in white percale with a contrasting border as in View A, or use checked gingham with a white border and straps like in View B. The flowers are appliqued and the leaves are embroidered. Then there's Pretty Homemakers. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1596. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Wraparound house dress with a yellow or blue transfer for trimming. You can slip into this becoming wraparound frock in a jiffy, only 1 button at the back of the neck. The diagonal back closing ties quickly around the waist. Crisscross trim at the yoke and pockets is bias tape, stitched by hand or by machine. Or work in chain stitch embroidery. Sizes small 10 to 12, medium 14 to 16, and large 18 to 20. Then at the bottom of the page, there's McCALL'S 1608. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Button-on apron dress with a blue transfer for embroidery and applique. A becoming dress with its own button-on apron. There's one just like it for daughter, McCALL'S 1609. Make of percale, chambray, gingham, or linen. Trim with eyelet ruffling and morning glory appliques, or work flowers in cross stitch. Sizes 12, 14, 16, and 18. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1700. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. bed jacket or peignoir with a blue transfer for English smocking or decorative gathering. Here's an alluring peignoir that's an ideal bed jacket in hip-length version. Make the peignoir in sheers and bed jacket in crepe. Gather with regular thread for English smocking. Diagrams and full instructions included. Smock with 6-stranded cotton, picking up each deep pleat, or use tarnish-resistant metallic thread for decorative gathering. Sizes small 12 to 14 and large 16 to 18. Then there's McCALL'S 1123. This is a printed pattern for a women's and Mrs. bed jacket with a yellow or blue transfer for embroidery. Read a book or breakfast in bed wearing this glamorous bed jacket. The dainty yoke is deeply scalloped and may be edged with fine lace. Make in high or low neck versions. Choose from 3 sleeve styles: bishop, bracelet length, or short. Embroider garden flowers in satin stitch using 6-stranded cotton. Sizes small 12 to 14, medium 16 to 18, and large 38 to 40. Then at the bottom of the page, there's McCALL'S 1060. This is a printed pattern for a women's and Mrs. hospital gown or short nightgown. In laced edged flower sprig percale, it's a charming cool shorty for warm weather. Make with back opening for hospital wear. Front opening is especially convenient for young mothers. The hospital gown has delicate feather stitch embroidery and elbow length sleeves. Both styles are cut straight and full enough for comfort and have flattering Johnny collars. Sizes 14, 16, 18, 38, and 40. Then there's mother and daughter keep dry rainwear. This is McCALL'S 1627. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Rain cape coat and hoods. You can laugh at the rain when you're wearing your smart cape coat and hood. You can make it yourself of double-faced plaid plastic as in view B, or of a closely woven fabric such as gabardine processed for water repellency like in view A. The all-season coat is sleeveless with loose, deep armholes that are comfortable worn over a top coat. Shoulder capes form sleeves long enough to protect your purse and packages too. Roomy pockets underneath the cape. Pattern for 2 hoods is given. The directions for sewing plastic or fabric are included. Wear the coat belted or loose. Sizes small 12 to 14 and large 16 to 18. View A or B with hood. The matching girl's rain cape coat is McCALL'S 1628. The first pattern on the next page is McCALL'S 1675. This is a transfer design for English smocking. Basic banding, planned for 2.5 times fullness, gives a deep pleated effect. The dots are 3/16 of an inch apart and rows are 5/16 of an inch apart. The dots are stamped on the wrong side of the material and the smocking is done on the right side. Smock in 2 or more colors. The leaflet gives instructions, diagrams, and details. The banding is 9.5 inches wide. The pattern includes 3 yards of yellow and 3 yards of blue transfer. Then there's McCALL'S 1315. This is a transfer design for a smocking border in yellow or blue. Add or cut away strips from banding and you have a variety of borders for yokes and sleeves. The smocking lesson is included. 6.5 yards of banding, 2 3/8 of an inch wide. This transfer will not stamp on wool. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1140. These are transfer designs for trimming motifs and banding in yellow or blue. Bold, free flower trim for blouses, jackets, and dresses. Work in wool or wool and cotton. Sprays are 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches to 7 by 17.5 inches. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1537. This is a transfer design for all over smocking dots, 1/4 inch apart in blue or yellow. With this pattern, you can do honeycomb as in view A, cable and wave rows, views B and C, with embroidery touches, Van Dyke in views D and E in 2 different designs. Smocking lesson included 2 sheets of dots, each 11 by 36 inches. This transfer will not stamp on woolens. Then there's McCALL'S 1009. This is a transfer design for daisy and cherry sprays in blue or yellow. Touch-up blouses, dresses, lingerie, and luncheon sets with graceful daisy sprays or ripe cherry clusters. Motifs in a variety of sizes, from tiny ones, 3¼ by 3¼ inches, to the largest daisy spray, 2¾ by 3¾ inches. 102 sprays given, including duplicates, for 6-stranded cotton. Then, at the bottom of the page, there's McCALL'S 1246. This is a printed pattern for fabric flowers. Make your own gay fabric flowers of dress material to complete your costume. View A, for instance, is of seersucker, C of velvet, D of taffeta, and F of gingham. A few stitches, a bit of pasting, and a flower is made. The yellow flower shown is made of piqué. Cutting patterns and full instructions for all flowers shown. Glitter and gleam. The photo at the top is McCALL'S 1586. Crystal and gold beads sparkle on a black velvet stole. One end of the stole snaps around the wrist and the other end drapes over the shoulder. McCALL'S 1586 is a transfer design for wheat and feather motifs for seed beads in yellow or blue. Highlight your wardrobe with rich beading. The wheat spray, motif A, worked in seed pearls, may adorn fabulous wedding dresses. Graceful curled feathers in view B will add sparkle to dresses, blouses, or a velvet stole. 3 pairs of view A, 3.5 inches by 9.5 inches, 1 of view B, 9.5 inches by 12 inches, 1 large single feather, 4 by 7 inches, and a pair of smaller feathers, 3¾ inch by 5¾ inches. Then there's McCALL'S 1339. This is a transfer design for a decorative alphabet with letters 5 inches high in yellow or blue. Initial it with sequins and seed beads. An easy sparkle up trick to add bright new looks to our favorite dresses, blouses, and sweaters. On wash fabrics, embroider letters in chain stitch or Indian herringbone stitch. Chain stitch letters are effective on bath towels too. The alphabet has 26 letters, 1 of each 5 inches high, and the blouse is not given. On the next page is McCALL'S 1637. It's a transfer design for 8 old-timer automobile trimming motifs in blue. Quaint hot rods, autos of the years 1904 to 1909. Delightful for aprons, playsuits, towels, and luncheon cloths. Simple embroidery with full instructions. 1 each of 8 designs about 5 inches long. Then there's McCALL'S 1314. This is a transfer design for bead trimming, bugle and seed, in yellow or blue. Use all black on black, or pastels or gold on white. 2 necklines. View A has a bead encrusted effect, and view B is more open. Then there's McCALL'S 662. This is a transfer design for large cross-stitch borders in yellow or blue. For 2 shades of one color or contrasting colors. It's trim for jackets, dresses, and tablecloths. The crosses are 5 to the inch. Included in the pattern are a leaflet and suggestions for use. 9 yards of banding A, 2.5 inches wide, and 2 yards of banding B, 4 inches wide. Then we move on to costumes. The first pattern is McCALL'S 793. This is a printed pattern for Mrs. and Girls dance costumes. Free action costumes. View A is bias cut with straight ruffles at the shoulder and hip. View B is gored with a graceful flared skirt. The bloomer pattern is included. Sizes 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. Then there's McCALL'S 792. This is a printed pattern for Mrs. and Girls dance costumes. Gay costumes for all ages. View A, snug shorts for a tap dancer, topped by a blouse with full loose sleeves. View C is a quaint Italian peasant costume with full skirt and gay apron. View B is a gypsy bolero dress. Sizes 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and 18. Next, there's McCALL'S 422. This is a printed pattern for a Santa Claus costume. Make a dandy bright red Santa suit for Daddy. Make trousers, coat, and cap of percale, sateen, wool suiting, velveteen, or flannel. Trim with white faux fur. Patent for leggings included. Sizes 36, 40, and 42. Then there's McCALL'S 1553. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Drum majorette costume, hat, and trunks. All eyes are on the pretty drum majorette as she struts along, twirling her baton at the head of the parade. Use gleaming satin and trim with gold braid. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1540. This is a printed pattern for a junior roller skating costume and trunks, with a blue or yellow transfer for sequins. Make a glamorous sequin trim skating costume of satin or taffeta, with floating chiffon sleeves, as in View B. Or make the entire dress of velvet. Line the graceful flared skirt with a contrast like in View A. Sizes 9, 11, 13, 15, and 17. Next, there's McCALL'S 1541. This is a printed pattern for a Mrs. Felt skirt and hat. A circle of felt with a hole in the middle and a slash at the center back for a zipper make this gala skirt. Pinking shears finish the hem. Use contrast felt for an applique flower trim and make a pert hat to match. One size for 24 to 28 waist and 21.5 to 22.5 head size. And at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 689. This is a printed pattern for choir surplices and cottas. The surplice or cotta for vested choirs in two of the most popular styles. Plain style View A is generally preferred for men. Sheared yoke View B is graceful and full for women or boys. Sizes small 8 to 12 years, medium 30 to 40 chest, and large 40 to 48 chest. On the last page of this section is McCALL'S 1679. This is a printed pattern for women's and misses' open-toe lounging slippers with a built-in heel. For a TV evening, 3 smart styles. View A is a sandal, View B, harlequin, and View C with a butterfly on toe and narrow ankle straps. Then there's McCALL'S 1566. This is a printed pattern for women's and girls' softy lounge slippers with an electric blue transfer for applique and embroidery. Warm in felt or suede and felt lined. View C in brocaded satin. Then there's McCALL'S 1220. This is a printed pattern for a men's bow tie and wide bias tie. The bow tie is designed to tie perfectly. Note the wide ends on the long tie. Use tie silk or dress fabrics, interlined with wool, canvas, or flannel. The bow tie is for a 15 or 16-inch neck. The bias tie is 48 inches long. And then there's McCALL'S 1517. This is a printed pattern for a man's necktie in 2 lengths. It's the perfect gift. This pattern is designed to fit a 1/4 block panel of necktie silk, as in View A, or dress material may be used. View A's bias tie is 51 inches long and fits a 1/4 block panel. The next section is home decoration. Bring beauty into your home. Luxury look linens, pictures, hooked rugs, slip covers, and embroidery designs. King-sized fruits for modern rooms. The first pattern is McCALL'S 1751. This is a printed pattern for king-sized fruit pillows with a blue transfer for embroidery. Amusing king-sized fruit pillows. It's a grand idea for young homemakers, college students, or for TV rooms. Make the pineapple in orange glazed chintz. Decorate with brown bias tape and yellow felt. The pear in yellow chintz. The watermelon slice in dark green and white, and the watermelon pink chintz with the seeds embroidered in black. The eggplant for purple chintz topped with light yellow-green felt. The strawberry is shown in red sateen, embroidered in white fly stitch, and topped with green felt hulls. The leaves and stems are dark green felt. For the porch or terrace, make it in rainproof plastic. The inner pillows are muslin stuffed with feathers, 14 to 18 inches high. 2 religious figures for cross stitch. First, there's McCALL'S 1742. It's a transfer design for the Good Shepherd, a cross-stitch picture in blue. Inspired by "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," this beautiful picture, designed by a well-known designer of religious murals, is appealingly handsome, aside from its religious significance. You will experience satisfaction in embroidering it and finding it a treasured addition to your home. Embroider in 17 rich colors using 6-strand cottons and following the color chart included in the pattern. Stamp the design on smooth weave natural color linen, linen-like cotton, or unbleached muslin. Framed in a natural wood molding about 2.5 inches or 3.5 inches wide. The picture is especially suitable for hanging in the living room, bedroom, or a child's room. The crosses are 7 to the inch. The design is 16 by 18 inches and the framed size is 18 by 20 inches. Designed by Ade de Bethune. If desired a pair of religious pictures, see McCALL'S 1743, Mother and Child. It's a companion picture. McCALL'S 1743 is a transfer design for Mother and Child, a cross-stitch picture in blue. Here is a tender and moving picture of the Virgin and Babe to work in cross-stitch. This picture and the one above were designed by the same artist to be worked in lovely shades of blue, green, gold, and red, colors traditionally associated with stained glass window portraits of the Madonna. The picture's appealing charm and deep religious significance will be an adornment for your home. Stamp the design on natural color linen, linen-like cotton, or unbleached muslin. Embroider in 6-stranded cotton following the color chart. The crosses are 7 to the inch. The design size is 16 by 18 inches. The frame size is 18 by 20 inches. Natural wood molding about 2.5 or 3.5 inches wide is suitable. Designed by Ade de Bethune. On the next page are old locomotives from 1831 to 1890. This is McCALL'S 1744, a transfer pattern for 6 old-timer locomotive designs in blue. These are copies of authentic prints of locomotives from 1831 to 1890, effective as a group or in pairs framed in black and gold with black or green mats. Easy stitches. Work in 7 colors and black silk strand cotton on linen or muslin. The frame size is 9 by 12 inches. The framing instructions are included, one each of 6 designs. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1736. This is a 4-color transfer design for rose motifs. American Beauties. Stamp in color exactly as shown. No embroidery needed. Press transfers with a low heat iron. In seconds, you achieve the hand-painted look. Motifs may be arranged and stamped on various ready-made or home-sewn articles. Roses are in 2 shades of rose pink with dark green leaves accented with black. Colors on wash material stay bright and clear after many washings. For best results, choose a smooth finish cotton fabric without sizing or dressing. White, yellow, or pastels are preferable. Stamp a full-blown rose on pillowcases or shams, a garland of buds on sheets or a bedspread, a flower or 2 on a vanity skirt for a decorator bedroom ensemble. Spray roses across scarves, cotton gloves, tablecloths, placemats, and hand towels. Dress up aprons, smocks, pinafores, dresses, and blouses. 2 each of 8 motifs shown. The roses are shown in actual size. Then there's McCALL'S 1734. This is a 4-color transfer design for violet motifs. It's something new, a transfer design that stamps in 4 colors, 2 shades of purple and green, as you see it. It's so simple, no embroidery is necessary. Just cut apart motifs, arrange as desired on smooth finish cotton or satin ready-made items. Press a medium-hot iron over the fabric and presto! There are lovely printed violets. There's nothing more to do. If you wish, enhance the effort by embroidering the centers with yellow satin stitch embroidery or add sequins for glitter, depending on the purpose. For a delicate touch, use on placemats. Violets launder many times and retain their brilliant color. A spray may accent lingerie sets or scarves. Large groups are delightful on linens and children's dresses. Pattern includes 2 each of motifs above, shown in actual size. Then on the next page, there's McCALL'S 1732, a transfer design for initials for monogramming in blue. Graceful initials for household linens or to personalize blouses and shirts. 1 pattern is used for stamping a single initial, 2 patterns for 2-letter monogram, 3 for a 3-letter monogram. Large letters may be used alone for a single initial. Short letters combine well under the other as shown in LST, or 2 together using a corner decor as shown in CG. Work in satin stitch, 6-strand cotton or number 25 or 30 embroidery cotton is suitable. Then there's McCALL'S 1731. This is a transfer design for initials for monogramming in blue. Initials tall and elegant on a bed and table linens, or for blouses and shirts. Use 1 pattern to stamp a single initial, 2 patterns for a 2-letter monogram, or 3 for a 3-letter monogram. Use the large letter alone or combine short letters in 2s, as in SA, or in a diagonal row. Work in satin stitch for 6-stranded cotton or number 25 or 30 embroidery cotton. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1721. It's a transfer design for wheat motifs and banding for household or church linen. These are graceful wheat sprays and wheat banding. A dinner cloth in 2 tones, such as green and natural linen, is very effective with the green center panel embroidered in golden wheat banding. Single and double wheat sprays may be combined with ecclesiastical symbols IHS and crosses in beautiful trims for church linens. Embroider by hand using 6-strand cotton or on sewing machine using metallic threads. Cutting directions for making two-tone dinner cloth included. 52 by 72 inches. 8 dinner napkins included. Next, there's McCALL'S 1715. This is a transfer design for tiny motifs and bandings. Here's a wide choice of embroidery and applique designs, all charming and unusual in a large number of easy embroidery stitches. Choose lazy daisy flowers to trim baby's first shoes. Use a pretty butterfly in double organdy, a cunning elephant or chicks appliqued in felt or fabric. There's a garden of delicate flowers to be worked in pastels on children's or dolls' clothes. Trim edges with narrow bandings and work motifs on collars and cuffs or handkerchiefs. Work in 6-stranded cotton, embroidery silk, tarnish-resistant metallic sewing thread, or fine wool. Over 40 motifs, at least 2 of each. 2 bandings, 2 edgings, 1.5 yards of each. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1719. This is a transfer design for cross-stitch dog pictures in blue. 6 show dogs to embroider in natural colors on white linen. The pictures are 8 by 10 inches framed, with 7 crosses to the inch. For 6-stranded cotton or work in needlepoint. The color chart is included. Then there's McCALL'S 1723, a transfer design for floral huck towels. Trim guest towels with stunning flowers worked in huck weaving and outline stitch. Flower colors. Use huck toweling or ready-made towels. 6 designs, 2 each, about 5 inches high. It's fun to make McCALL'S pictures. First, there's McCALL'S 1683. This is a transfer design for locomotive, a cross-stitch picture in blue. McCALL'S cross-stitch picture locomotive brings the romance of early railroading into your home. Work in colorful cross-stitch. The picture has the feeling of a 19th century print. Quaint, nostalgic, and gay. You will experience a satisfying thrill watching it come alive as you put in the different colors. Here's the friendly, old-fashioned squat engine with its low, wide cow catcher, the antiquated headlight, and the warning bell, wood-burning smokestack, red caboose, and yellow box-shaped cars, all long since outdated, as they roll through the gentle countryside. Planned for 6-strand cotton in 22 colors. The chart for placing colors and framing directions are included. 7 crosses to the inch, and the design size is 12.5 by 16 inches. Then there's McCALL'S 1688, a transfer design for a sampler map in blue. A fascinating history map to embroider, frame, and hang on your walls. It is designed like an old-time U.S. map, with boundary lines and waterways, cartographer's compass, and picture symbols. In one corner is the Old South Church. In another corner is the Alamo. Ponce de Leon raises his sword over Florida. The covered wagon rolls along the Oregon Trail, and so on. For the background, use smooth natural linen, cotton with linen finish, or unbleached muslin. Stitches are outline, satin, lazy daisy, running, and back stitch. Use 6-stranded cotton with color instructions. The design size is 13 3/4 by 17.5 inches. Includes a complete alphabet with 50 extra letters for signing your name. The next one is McCALL'S 1645. This is a transfer design called Arrangement, a shadow box picture in electric blue. This unusually interesting picture is an effective showcase to display your needle and craft skills. Roses, leaves, and drapery edging are crocheted. The lady's stole is knitted. Her skirt is embroidered, and the butterflies are painted. Draperies are of red satin, carpet of velvet, and background of taffeta, all scrap bag pieces. The cat, table legs, and cover, and lady's pompadour are of felt. The picture is assembled with paste. Full directions, including crochet, knitting, and making shadow box frame, are included. On the next page is McCALL'S 1291. This is a transfer design for the pheasants. I showed this transfer design previously in my McCALL Needlework annual video from 1950. The link to that video is in the description box below. This stunning design suggests the large bird prints so much in demand today. The artist has captured the beautiful colorings and graceful lines of these birds in a woodsy scene that the man of the house will be sure to appreciate. Embroidered in 6-strand cotton, the color chart is included. The size is 16 by 19 3/4 inches, and the crosses are 7 to the inch. Use linen or linen-like cotton for the background. The companion picture, the mallards, number 1359, is on this page. McCALL'S 1359 is a transfer design for the mallards, a picture or wall hanging in cross stitch in blue. The popular mallards, well known in marshes and ponds from Nova Scotia to California, are a colorful addition to your home. The brilliance and depth of color and the realistic motion of the birds are delightful. Use 6-strand cotton and the color chart is included. To make the perfect crosses, work all undercrosses in one direction and overcrosses in the other. The size is 16 by 19 3/4 inches, and the crosses are 7 to the inch. Use linen or linen-like cotton for the background. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1429. It's a transfer design for mother, deer, and fawn, a picture in cross stitch. An appealing animal picture for cross stitch. The spirited baby fawn, its placid mother, and the colorful woodland setting will give a lift to any room in the house. Needleworkers will enjoy putting in the bright flowers, the contrasting tones of the evergreens, the skillfully shaded browns and tans of the deer. Planned for 6-strand cottons in 31 colors, and includes a chart for placing color and suggestions for framing. On the next page is McCALL'S 1397. This is a transfer design for a cross-stitch picture called Lilacs and Tulips. Add this spray to your flower print collection. The soft hues blend with modern or traditional furnishings. Choose floral colors in 6-strand cotton according to the pattern directions. Use linen or linen-like cotton for the background, and work under crosses in one direction and upper crosses in the other. Then there's McCALL'S 1112. This is a transfer design for a roses and delphinium cross-stitch picture in blue. The cross-stitch flower print carries out a lovely idea in decor. Red roses and blue delphinium blend with almost any interior. Choose the colors as directed in the pattern for the beauty and richness of a painting. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1601, a transfer design for a rose spray cross-stitch picture in blue. The rich color effect is obtained with only 13 shades. A chart in the pattern is given for the deep pink or dark red rose. The design is also easy to adapt to other colors, such as white with tones of gray for a white rose, or pale yellow shaded into orange of a yellow rose. The beautiful cross-stitch flower print will look charming for years to come. On the next page are old-timer autos for embroidery. At the top of the page is McCALL'S 1636, a transfer design for 6 old-timer automobiles for embroidered pictures in blue. Genuine horseless carriages vintage from 1904 to 1909, the kind that used to chug along at the brisk pace of 7 miles per hour. This collection of old autos was inspired by authentic old prints. The designs have been developed in simple embroidery stitches, outline, chain, satin, and cross stitch, suitable for 6-strand cottons. Mounted and framed, they make an exciting and conversation-provoking group of prints. One each of 6 designs, about 6.5 inches long. Then there's McCALL'S 1637, a transfer design for 8 old-timer automobile trimming motifs in blue. Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile. Or maybe a Maxwell, Real Runabout, or Stanley Steamer. These quaint old autos are exact replicas inspired by old prints of the hot rods over the years from 1904 to 1909, the kind that used to frighten the horses. Worked out of simple embroidery stitches, they make delightful trims for aprons, play suits, towels, and luncheon cloths. Then on the next page, there are pictures of rural life. The first is McCALL'S 1520, a transfer design for rural America, a sampler picture in cross-stitch in blue. Here's rural America, a delightful watercolor in cross-stitch. 6 little scenes, quaint and authentic, make up this unique new cross-stitch picture. Here is the old covered bridge, the white lighthouse, the white painted inland church with the tall steeple, the little red mill with its great water wheel, the wooden trough for the horses, and of course, the trusty roll-free delivery letterbox. Work these quaint scenes in lively shades of 6-strand cotton. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1562. This is a transfer design for apple picking time, a picture for needlework. You may remember this design from my video of the first edition of McCALL'S Needlework Annual. The link to that video is in the description box below. In this amusing modern primitive, everyone is getting the farm ready for winter. Father and the hired man are harvesting the apple crop. Mother is hanging out the wash. Sister is feeding the ducks, and brother is catching trout for supper. The work is a combination of simple stitches, satin, single, lazy daisy, and French knots that are to be worked in 6-stranded cotton. Then there's McCALL'S Party Treats. I love these. The first is McCALL'S 1590, a transfer design for a complete cutting pattern and recipes for McCALL'S Gingerbread House and Children's Party House in blue. An edible centerpiece for children's party tables. Build Hansel and Gretel's gingerbread house or cookie dough party house from the recipes in the pattern. Construction details are complete with gumdrops, Jordan almonds, and cinnamon drops. Easy to make with step-by-step photographic instructions. The height is 8 inches. Then there's McCALL'S 1670, a transfer design for a complete cutting pattern and recipes for McCALL'S Merry-Go-Round in blue. A new table decoration for holiday, birthday, and other parties. It's a wonderful treat for the children. Looks good enough to eat, and it is. The carousel animals are made of cookie dough, their bright saddles thick with icing. This sparkling centerpiece also uses candy canes, marshmallows, peppermint, hard candies, and cinnamon drops. It has a cardboard base, and the step-by-step directions, recipes for cookie dough, and icings are included. The height is 13 inches. Then on the next page is McCALL'S 1602, a transfer design for a rose-hooked rug in black. A traditional combination of richly shaded roses and foliage, centered on a rose beige oval with a blue-green rope chain border. An outer border of wine red and deep wine in a variegated effect with leaf scrolls at the corners completes the color scheme. Suitable for hooking with rags or wool yarns. An ideal rug pattern for beginners. A charming scatter-sized rug for your home. Chart for placing colors and general instructions included in the pattern. Then there's McCALL'S 1642, a transfer design for the carriage hooked rug in black. Rich colors, skillfully combined, make this hooked rug a work of art reminiscent of an heirloom. Note the quaint center motif. Red Victoria, black horse and uniformed coachman, red parasol, yellow dress, the beautiful shading of the grass, mountains, and sky. The color chart shows how to hook in colors as planned by the designer. Suitable for rug yarn or rag strips of cotton, rayon, or wool. Work with a hand hook or mechanical hook. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1648, a transfer design for either side pine tree hooked rug in black. This page has a bit of damage. The bottom corner of the page is cut, but it doesn't bother me at all. This book is lovely. Buy a new either side rug hooking process. Part of the loops appear on one side of the rug, part on the other, making the rug reversible. The embossed effect and stylized pine trees are achieved on both sides without changing the length of the loop. Part of the design is worked on one side of the foundation burlap, part on the reverse side. This comes with complete instructions. Use rug yarn and a mechanical hook. Then there's mallards in flight for cross stitch. This is McCALL'S 608, a transfer design for mallards in flight, a cross stitch wall panel in blue. A fascinating scene in the American bird life, all done in cross stitch and English crewel wools. The man of the house, among other members of the family, will appreciate the scene. Make the panel of good quality linen with a smooth surface in natural or cream color. The crosses are 7 to the inch. Work all under crosses in one direction and all upper crosses in the other direction, and make all crosses touch. On the next page is McCALL'S 1512, a transfer design for cross-stitch pillowcases or sheets. These flower designs are silhouetted against a background of cross-stitch. So different and so pretty. Design B may be used in reverse as shown with a plain border or scalloped edge. The scalloped edges may be finished with ready-made lace. Crosses are 9 to the inch. 2 designs are given, a pair of each. Each design will trim 1 pair of pillowcases or 1 case and 1 sheet for a single bed, as illustrated. Then there's McCALL'S 1607, a transfer design for cross-stitch pillowcases or sheets in blue. Merely fill in the background of these designs with crosses and you'll get the new silhouetted cross-stitch effect. The graceful lily, view B, is used above a straight hem or in reverse with a scalloped edge finished off with lace. 2 designs are given, a pair of each. Crosses are 9 to the inch. Each design trims a pair of cases or 1 case and 1 sheet. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1130. This is a transfer design for wild roses in cross stitch. Trim sheets, pillowcases, or towels with these flower fresh sprays or bouquets. Have the roses in shaded pink or yellow. You work by color chart using 6-strand cotton. The crosses are 8 to the inch and work up quickly. Small blue flowers are in straight stitches, stems in outline stitch, and the pattern includes 2 pillowcase motifs, 2 sheet motifs, and 2 towel motifs, also suitable for dresser scarves. Linen beauty for the bedroom and bathroom. First there's McCALL'S 985, a transfer design for embroidered pillowcases, towels, or runners in blue. 3 stunning designs that are fun to do. View A is cross-stitch with a color chart included. The others combine applique with outline, satin, and lazy daisy stitches. They all offer a chance to develop these lovely color combinations for unusual effects. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1025, a transfer design for cross-stitch borders for pillowcases and towels in blue. Delightful floral designs for your very best pillowcases and guest towels. For very fine cross-stitch, 10 to the inch crosses, and worked in 6-stranded cottons in soft pastel flower colors. Finished with a scalloped contrast band or crocheted edging. 2 each of 3 designs. Crochet directions for edging and scallops for backs of each design are included. Then there's flowered linens. The first is McCALL'S 1085, a transfer design for applique pillowcases in blue. Give your pillowcases an extra touch of beauty with these spring-like bouquets, dainty apple blossoms in view A, delicate lilies in view B, and nosegay of mixed flowers in view C. Applique in color with embroidered details is effectively used to bring out the beauty of the flowers. A pair of each designs, scallop borders are given with each design for backs of pillowcases. Below that is McCALL'S 1479, a transfer design for embroidered pillowcases in blue. Pastels for the bedroom are always a perfect choice. You'll enjoy embroidering these fresh flower lazy daisies in appealing flower colors to match the room decor. View A is done in 2 shades, light and medium blue. The butterfly wings in view C are in crisscross and running stitches. The daisies in view B are delightful. Use 6-stranded cottons, 2 each of 3 designs. Then there's McCALL'S 1057, a transfer design for embroidered pillowcases and towels. His pillowcase is bright with blue flowers, hers with pink ones, both in lazy daisy stitch and outline. The pattern also includes his and hers guest towels, views E and F, shown on page 218. Pillowcases may be finished with hems or scallops. The pattern includes 1 each of 6 designs, including the towels on page 218. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1661, a transfer design for cutwork and applique pillowcases or towels in blue. Hostesses, let colorful applique flowers, combined with handsome cutwork frames and bow knots, trim your best pillowcases and towels. The color trims are for white linens. Choose pansies, roses, or exotic orchids. Select colors to go with your decor. Touches of satin stitch, outline, and straight stitch embroidery, and colored buttonhole stitching at the edges. Colored applique is easy to do. 2 each of 3 designs about 6 inches deep, including the scallops. Then there's McCALL'S 1663, a transfer design for embroidered pillowcases, sheets, or towels in blue. Any woman who can work simple outline, straight stitch, zigzag, lazy daisy, and buttonhole stitch can make these pretty embroidered linens. The trims are lovely, worked in combination of pastel colors on white and finished with colored applique borders or crocheted scalloped edge, directions included. 1 pair each of 3 designs. Also includes a pattern for the contrast border. Cutwork linens are on the next page. First there's McCALL'S 1024. This is a transfer design for cutwork pillowcases or towels. Simple buttonholing is the main stitch in cutwork embroidery. Beginners will find these charming flower designs very easy to do. Good pickup work needs no concentration. A handsome finish for your own linens or for the perfect wedding gift. Designs A and B have a buttonhole edge. C is finished with crochet, directions given. A pair of each design. Matching scallops for the back of the pillowcase or towel design are included in the pattern. Then there's McCALL'S 1222, a transfer design for cutwork pillowcases or towels in blue. Classic cutwork designs, not elaborate, but rich in effect. Embroidered in white, they make an ideal wedding or hope chest gift. Simple buttonholing is the main stitch combined with satin stitch. Use 6-strand cotton, number 8 pearl cotton, or number 12 or 14 long skein cotton. 3 designs are given. The lily design isn't shown. A pair of each and scalloped backs for B and C. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 963, a transfer design for cutwork pillowcases or towels in blue. Make a gift that the bride will treasure for years. Let your own linens be one of the prides of your possession. Views B and C are about 5.5 inches high and may be used on pillowcases. View A is 3 3/4 inches high and is lovely on towels or cases. A pair of each design and scallops for the back of B and C. Full directions for cutwork stitches included. On the next page is McCALL'S 1511, a transfer design for cutwork pillowcases or towels in blue. What could be lovelier than snowy white cases trimmed with appliqued pastel flowers and cutwork? It's a brand new idea and adds a lively charm to the distinctive look of fine cutwork. Designs in jonquil, rose, and wildflower pattern. Make flowers and leaves of gingham or percale. Embroidery is worked in satin, outline, and buttonhole stitches for 6-strand cottons. Then there's McCALL'S 1689, transfer designs for cutwork gardenias for table linens, towels, or pillowcases in blue. Set a smart table with a handsome colored linen cloth embroidered in white cutwork gardenias with a buttonhole stitch edge. Designs will trim a 36, 45, or 50-inch square tea cloth or oblong dinner cloth, 50 by 72 inch, and 8 napkins. Or use the design on towels, pillowcases, or scarves. 4 corner motifs, 4 side motifs, 2 motifs for the center square, 4 medallions, and 4 napkin corners. On the next page is McCALL'S 1543, a transfer design for 2 Lazy Daisy scarves in blue, for Lazy Daisy outline and French knots. Transfer for 2 scarves. Directions for crocheted edging in pattern. The matching tablecloth shown is on page 216. It includes 4 end motifs, 8 corners, 72 scattered flowers, and banding. Then there's McCALL'S 798, a transfer design for embroidered pillowcases in blue. Put pretty embroidered applique borders on pillowcases. To trim matching sheet, join 2 case motifs. An extra pattern is required. Lazy Daisy and satin stitch, 2 each of A and B. The pattern for the applique border is included. Then there's McCALL'S 1567, transfer designs for embroidered pillowcases in blue. Work in fresh, natural spring flower colors. Scallops can be finished with ready-made lace or crocheted picot edge as in view A. Work the design in outline, satin, single, and Lazy Daisy stitches in 6-strand cottons, 2 each of 2 designs. On the next page is McCALL'S 1662, transfer designs for 49er pot holders in blue. Spice your kitchen with quaint, colorful pot holders inspired by the 49ers of the Gold Rush and covered wagon days. Here are the dude hats and high stock bows of the Gold Rush sports, and the deep sunbonnets the gals wore to protect their pretty faces crossing the prairies. The fat sugar bowl that sometimes concealed their wealth, and the cream pitcher remind us of the homes they founded. The pot holders are easy to make from bright colored scraps with applique and simple embroidery stitches. Wonderful for bazaars celebrating Western centennials. 8 designs. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1660, a printed pattern for favorite food pot holders with electric blue transfer for applique and embroidery. Amuse yourself and your guests with a set of pot holders made in true-to-life semblance of the USA's favorite foods. Here's a waffle, sunny-side-up eggs, a fish, baked beans, coconut cake, baked ham, gingerbread man, gelatin mold, and cherry pie. Cook them up from the scrap bag with bright color cotton pieces, appliqued, quilted, and embroidered. Hang pot holders in a row on the cupboard door for show and good use. Make them for church bazaars. 9 designs. On the next page is McCALL'S 1696, transfer designs for applique chickens for dish towels and pot holders in electric blue. Red-combed hens and roosters have come into the kitchen. Applique them on gay contrast color, linen-like cotton, or crossbar toweling. Appliques are bold in size, very expressive, and belong in the modern kitchen or ranch house. Easy embroidery stitches. 1 motif each of A, B, C, and F, which is the opposite of C. 1 each of D and E for pot holders. If desired, make 2 towels. Use the pair of roosters on kitchen curtains. Then there's McCALL'S 1698, transfer designs for fruit ranch dish towels for applique and cross stitch. Decorate your kitchen with dish towels trimmed with luscious cross-stitch grapes, cherries, pear, peach, apple, strawberries, and plums. Crosses are bold, 5 to the inch, and worked in 2 shades for a checkered effect. The leaves are appliques. Other simple embroidery stitches are included. Cross-stitch the days if you wish. Effective on plain towels or towels with side stripes or end borders. 1 each of 7 designs, words for days and the transfers for appliques included. On the next page is McCALL'S 1620, transfer designs for dish towels and pot holders in blue. These baby bunnies and teddy bears tackle kitchen chores with bright, infectious smiles. Work the figure in outline stitch, details in satin, straight, and running stitch. Embroider in red, black, and blue 6-strand cotton or green, black, and red. Edge in fancy buttonhole stitch using predominant kitchen color. Make matching pot holders. 1 each of 6 motifs, 2 for pot holders. Then below that is McCALL'S 1558, transfer designs for appliqued sunbonnet girl tea towels in blue. Gay little sunbonnet charmers, each one different, appliqued on tea towels. Scraps make their quaint dresses and bonnets. The gardener wears a calico skirt. The ice skater carries a fur muff. 1 primps with a hand mirror. Another serves tea from a hand-painted teapot. Embroider details in 6-strand cottons with easy stitches. Finish the towel in buttonhole stitch. 1 each of 6 designs. Then on the next page is McCALL'S 1478, transfer designs for kitchen review dish towels in blue. Here's the pot and pan follies dish to get in the act to. Chorus girls are plates, cups, and saucers. The skillets do a comic soft shoe number, and the stew pot is a suave master of ceremonies. Work the gay review in outline stitch in bright 6-strand cotton. 1 each of 6 designs. Below that is McCALL'S 1545, transfer designs for garden fresh tea towels in blue. Amusing scenes show Mrs. Beet washing, Mrs. Tomato shopping, Mrs. Eggplant ironing her embroidered linens, and Mrs. Pear hanging out the wash. Mrs. Apple Not Shown is included in the busy set of homemakers. The details of the dresses are worked in simple stitches. 6 designs. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1419, Transfer Designs for Fruit Motifs for Tea Towels. Towels embroidered in these fun designs make dish drawing a humorous affair. Imagine a coy orange waiting to be squeezed, a pair of dancing plums, and a paring knife chasing an apple, but that one's not shown. Wonderful for shower gifts, bazaars, or for your own use. 6 towel motifs and 2 for pot holders. Then there's amusing dish towels. The first is McCALL'S 1591, Transfer Designs for American Folk Songs in Blue. 4 favorite American folk songs are in this collection, designed in large size to bring more color to the kitchen towels. Use a combination of bright 6-strand cotton. Most of it is in outline stitch. The designs fit on plain or bordered towels. Treat your friends to a surprise gift of these light-hearted towels, one each of 4 designs with full directions. Below that is McCALL'S 1592, Transfer Designs for the Pioneers in Blue. From covered wagon days come 4 large prairie crossing designs. Mrs. Housewife will welcome the gay 49er motifs. The pert carriage of Mrs. Pioneer on her way to the old well is a joy. Equally quaint and amusing are the other 3 subjects. Outlines are bold, bright, and easily worked in simple stitches. Use 6-strand cottons, one each of 4 designs. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1488, Transfer Designs for Little Lulu dish towels in blue. Little Lulu is an amusing little girl and a neat housekeeper too. Put her on a set of tea towels and enjoy this famous character as she sews, bakes, shops, washes, irons, dusts, and goes to church on Sundays. Make her dress in bright red applique. Work her curls in black 6-strand cotton. Edge and buttonhole stitch. 7 days of the week designs. Then there's tropical motifs for the guest room. McCALL'S 1624, Transfer Designs for tropical favorites in cross stitch for towels in blue. Work these graceful birds on snowy white or pale tinted linen or very fine huck. There's a heron, a broad-billed waiter, a serene swan, and a hungry pelican. 8 crosses to the inch and 6 motifs. Then there's cross-stitch roses for the dinette. This is McCALL'S 1580, a transfer design for cross-stitch borders in blue or yellow. Beautifully detailed, big 4.5-inch roses for cross-stitch. Handsome in solid colors on 54 by 54-inch luncheon cloth and matching dinette curtains. 5 crosses to the inch. Work in 6-strand cotton in darker shade of cloth for a 2-toned effect. On the next page is McCALL'S 1544, a transfer design for Lazy Daisy refreshment cloth in blue. This charming Lazy Daisy design fits with a 35 or 42-inch cloth. Finish with a rolled hem or hand crocheted edging. Those directions are included in the pattern. Trim the matching napkins with sections of banding or scattered flowers. Lazy Daisy, outline, and French knots. Use 6-strand cottons in pastels. 4 corner motifs, 4 scallop corners, and 48 scatter flowers. Then there's McCALL'S 1692, transfer designs for appliqued and embroidered pillowcases or towels in blue. Hostesses with the green thumb or city apartment dwellers will enjoy transplanting these garden designs. The central motifs, watering can, flower-filled barrow, and graceful basket are for applique. Handles and flowers are embroidered in simple stitches. Use 6-strand cotton, designs for 3 pairs of pillowcases or 6 towels. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1497, Transfer designs for Mexican motifs in cross stitch in blue or yellow. It says, gay, colorful Mexican figures to give a Latin flavor to your aprons, linens, towels, and children's clothes. Work in bright colors. 10 to the inch crosses cleverly combined with simple embroidery. 1 each of 8 motifs plus palm trees, cacti, and 8 yards of banding. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1513, a transfer design for rose cross-stitch tablecloth and napkins. A handsome linen dining cloth with a rose design silhouetted against a cross-stitch background. Embroider in one color with a deeper shade for accent. For 54 by 72 inch cloth with an oblong center motif, as in view C, or smaller 54 by 54 inch cloth with a square center motif. Crosses are 5 to the inch and 4 corner motifs for view A, 2 motifs of view B, 6 flower motifs, 6 napkin motifs of D, and banding are included. Then there's McCALL'S 1547, transfer designs for an ivy cross-stitch tablecloth in blue or yellow. A perfect background for china with an ivy pattern. Also lovely with plain white or colored pottery, or china with a floral design. Fits a 54 by 72 inch cloth or 54 by 54 inch cloth. Or you can make 1 pair of dinette curtains and a small cloth. Skirt trimming is also suggested. The crosses are 6 to the inch and use 6 strand cottons. 4 motifs of view A, 2 of C, and 8 yards of banding for B. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1453, transfer designs for Mexican cross-stitch motifs in blue or yellow. It's fiesta time when you cross-stitch these gay Mexican motifs on luncheon sets, towels, and aprons. Work dancers, musicians, cacti in 6 strand cottons, 7 crosses to the inch, 28 motifs with 2 of each dancers. Then on the next page is McCALL'S 662, transfer designs for cross-stitch borders in blue or yellow. Charming cross-stitch borders designs to be worked in 2 shades of the same color or in contrasting colors. Handsome trims for tablecloths, luncheon mats, towels, and dresses. The leaflet suggests many ways in which bandings may be used. Detail A shows how narrow banding may be used to form a corner. 5 crosses to the inch for pearl cotton number 3 or 6 strand cotton. Then there's McCALL'S 1009, transfer designs for daisy and cherry sprays in blue or yellow. Your choice of luscious cherries and lazy daisy flowers. Work them in 6 strand cotton. 102 sprays including duplicates from tiny buds 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 inches to large daisy sprays shown. Then there's McCALL'S 1057, transfer designs for embroidered pillowcases and towels in blue. His towel is bright with morning glories, hers with rosebud trellis. Both guest towels may have a dainty scalloped border. Work in 6 strand cotton. Pattern also includes 6 designs for pillowcases or towels. See also page 205. At the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1555, transfer designs for the alphabet for forming names and words with floral trim in electric blue. Form names and words spaced between flowers to trim guest towels and children's linens. Letters are 1/2 inch, stem letters are 3/4 inch high, 16 each of most letters. Stamp names like Kate 8 times. Full directions included. Then on the next page is McCALL'S 74, a printed pattern for 2 patchwork quilts with a blue transfer. The fan and the Dresden plate are to be done in hit or miss effect, or, if you prefer, repeat your favorite color scheme. Old-fashioned calicos or modern cotton prints are suitable. Dresden black plates, 17 inch square. Fan blocks, 8 1/2 inches square. Make in single or double bed size. Then there's McCALL'S 885, a transfer design for a quilted comforter in yellow or blue. Large open flowers and feathery leaves form this charming design. Make with a straight border, a minimum amount of work. For a single or double bed, adaptable to chaise longue size. Cut size for a bed 72 by 84 inches. For chaise longue, 60 by 72 inches. Complete directions for cutting and making the quilt are included. Then at the bottom of the page, there's a bit more damage to the book. It looks like some of the views of McCALL'S 911 have been cut out and ripped. McCALL'S 911 is a printed pattern for 5 types of ruffled bedspreads and pillows. You can use print and plain combinations, bordered fabrics, quilting, striped fabrics, and all-over designs for these spreads. Plain or quilted top with gathered ruffles. View B is lovely in organdy with chintz applique. All types are suitable for single or double beds. On the next page, there's McCALL'S 1705, a transfer design for cross-stitch alphabet in blue. Flowers twine through these framed initials. For towels, pillowcases, tablecloths, or placemats, or to work on apron or drindle pockets. 4 complete alphabets, 8 corner motifs, and 12 frames, with 12 crosses to the inch. Then there's McCALL'S 644, transfer designs for the alphabet for handkerchief monograms. Arrange these in decorative effects, in frames, or by the addition of scrolls or dash lines to make them different. 6 styles, 1 for cross stitch. Initials are shown in actual size. 6 alphabets given, 12 transfers of each. 24 each of frames, scrolls, and dash lines to complete monograms. Then there's brighten your linens with your name. First there's McCALL'S 1681, transfer designs for personalized kitchen towels in cross stitch in blue. Form your name with cross-stitch letters and place up and down or across towel above the strawberry kitchen motif. There are enough alphabets and strawberry motifs to stamp 6 towels. Capital letters are 1 inch high and 10 crosses to the inch for 6-stranded cottons. Edge with buttonhole stitch or contrast hems. Then there's McCALL'S 1682. A printed pattern for the alphabet for bold applique monograms in poster style. Make a bathroom ensemble with poster style block letters. Cut initials of plain or printed percale. Slip stitch or embroider to position. Use this pattern also for cutting names or monograms of felt to applique on sweaters, sport shirts, and blankets. Complete alphabet in 5 sizes included. Then, at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1339, a transfer design for a decorative alphabet with letters 5 inches high in blue or yellow. These big letters give an important look to household linens. Embroider in chain stitch on bath towels, laundry bags, and luncheon cloths using 6-strand cotton, or use sequins to initial a dress, blouse, or sweater. Complete alphabet of 26 letters, 1 of each included. Directions for the embroidery are also included. Your boudoir ensemble is next. At the top of the page is McCALL'S 1629, a printed pattern for a double bed coverlet, petticoat, and pillow shams. Well-dressed beds are wearing smart topper coverlets, separate petticoats of 4-ply plastic, chintz, or taffeta. Topper may be tailored in view A or softly ruffled in view B. Then there's McCALL'S 1630, a printed pattern for a single or twin bed coverlet, petticoat, and pillow sham. It's the same style as McCALL'S 1629. Use quilted or plain plastic or fabric for topper. The petticoat fits between the mattress and the springs and stays on the bed when the topper is removed. Combine plaid or print with plain color. Then at the bottom of the page is McCALL'S 1631, a printed pattern for a dressing table skirt and window swag. Dress up your vanity table and window to match your bed. One-piece ruffled swag fits any average size single window. Drape over ornamental fixtures and let ends fall to either side. The two-piece skirt fits a vanity table 30 inches high. Then on the next page is McCALL'S 1477, a printed pattern for a slipcover for a duplex sofa bed. A slipcover that you don't have to remove for sleeping. Unzip the front skirt at the corners, pull the underbed forward, and make up the bed. For a low-backed modern piece, with or without sidearm. Then there's McCALL'S 1179, a printed pattern for a slipcover for a studio couch. Take your pick, tailored neatness or glamour frills. Both slip covers are easy to make. Style A has pleats for ease. Style B features quilting and ruffles, both simple to do with machine attachments. Then there's McCALL'S 445, a printed pattern for a slipcover for an overstuffed club sofa. It can look just like a custom-made slipcover if you make it by the complete picture instructions in the pattern. Full directions included in the pattern. Then there's McCALL'S 620. It's a printed pattern for swag valances for window draperies. You can make your own draperies without the aid of a professional decorator. Step-by-step instructions, diagrams, and details are worked out for you in this pattern. Valances for single, double, or triple windows to fit a valance board 45, 81, and 101 inches for all drapery materials. The pattern states the material needed for the valance only and gives directions for measuring the windows for side draperies and for adjusting the pattern to other sizes. Includes a complete lesson. On the last page, we have the final four patterns. First is McCALL'S 207, A to G. Printed patterns for 7 different slipcovers for chairs. Order each pattern by name, number, and letter of the chair as shown above. Choose the pattern most nearly like your own chair. Complete lesson in slipcover making included in the pattern. View A is an English club chair. View B is a Lawson chair. C is a pillowback chair. D is a Cogswell chair. E is a wing chair. F is an English lounge chair. And G is a boudoir chair. Then there's McCALL'S 224, a printed pattern for a slipcover for a barrel back chair. You can make this slipcover with a box pleated ruffle or without. Full instructions included. Then there's McCALL'S 446, a printed pattern for a slipcover for an overstuffed club chair. This cover may be made with a box pleated ruffle across the front only or at the front and sides. And finally, there's McCALL'S 697, a printed pattern for a modern club chair. The amply proportioned chair is as easy to cover as any other. The box pleated ruffle may be placed across the front only if desired. Instructions for adjusting slight differences in size included. I hope you enjoyed my McCALL'S Needlework pattern book from November 1952. Please like and share this video with your friends and family. I love sharing my new, vintage, and out-of-print sewing patterns and my tips, tricks, quick fixes, and even my mistakes when sewing along with you. I also love sharing my wonderful fabric finds that I thrifted from charity shops, as well as brand new fabric online and in-store. If you'd like to see more from BudgetSew, please subscribe and press the bell so you receive a notification when I release a new video. If you'd like to stay up to date with BudgetSew, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at BudgetSew. Thanks for watching. See you next time.